one prosperous future. On stage, Suprida Dettatri and Deepta Nambudri.
Dhalam kutom tadikita tom tam re tam tei re ra tei tam re tam tei tei ra tei kita takatom re tam tei tei ra tei ra tam re tam tei tei ra tei kita tom re tam tei tei ra tei ra tam re tam tei tei ra tei ra tam re tam tei tei ra tei tam
குத்தக்கத்திக்கு தலங்குதகதிக்கு தக்கதிக்கு ததும்பா குத்தன்னா குத்தஜே குத்தரே குத்தஜம் தக்கிட்டஜம் தக்கத்ததிக்கு தகஜம் தத்த குத்தன்னா குத்தஜே குத்தரே குத்தஜம் தக்கிட்டஜம் தக்க தக்கிட்டஜம் தா குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தக்கிட்டஜம் தத்த குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தக்கத்ததிக்கு தகதா குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தக்கிட்டஜம் தத்த குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தக்க தக்கிட்டதா குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தத்த குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தஜம் தத்தஜம் கிட்டதகதம் 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 தா குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தத்த குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தஜம் தத்தஜம் தா கிட்டதகதம் தா கிட்டதகதம் தா கிட்டதகதம் தா குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தத்த குத்தன்னா குத்தஜம் தத்தஜம் தக்கதிக்கு கிட்டதகதம் தக்கதிக்கு கிட்டதகதம் தக்கதிக்கு கிட்டதகதம்
One huge family leading together to a prosperous future. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
I'm sure that was a mesmerizing performance. I wish we had time for more such events, but since it's a day packed with tight schedule, we'll be moving on to our next sub-theme for the day. And we'll be listening to topics that inculcate the concept of togetherness and inclusion in education. I request our speakers for the session, Swami Vivekanandaji, Professor Achyut Shankar, Sri Venugopal C. Govind, to kindly occupy the dais. I invite our students to offer a token of our affection to the speakers. Thank you. The first speaker for this session is a distinguished Swami Vivekanandaji. Swami Vivekanandaji is the regional head of Chinmaya Mission and a trustee of Chinmaya Seva Trust, Kerala. He has served Chinmaya Mission in many different centers ranging from Port Blair in Andaman, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, and of course Kerala. He leads the Chinmaya Mission Center at Kasargod. He will be talking about how the concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is vital to true education. Welcome, Swamiji. You have to sit on it.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरुवे नमः. My Hari Om and salutations to everyone on the days of the days. Hari Om to everyone. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the linchpin of education, that's a topic given to me. First of all, I was trying to trace out where the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam figures in our Vedas. A couple of days ago only I succeeded in getting it. It's in the Vedas, one of the Upanishads, not the major Upanishads, one of the minor Upanishads, Mahopanishads. And subsequently, it is also quoted in Hitopadesha and such like literature pieces. This is, we say, it's a Vasudhaiva Kutumba Sankalpam. Very learned speakers have preceded me, and they have dealt on the subject at great length, and still we are going to listen to more from others also. The Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is a concept, a sankalpa. Actually, it was not a theoretical sankalpa, but it was a concept, rather it was a principle. It was the result of an appreciation of certain eternal facts that we, especially in our birth, we did not hold it as a concept alone, as a sankalpa alone, but we lived it. Literally, we lived the principle. So, understanding it theoretically is one thing, and living it is different. So, it has not been an outlook for us, but there has been an in-look also. This in-look is very, very important. In-look comes out of understanding, appreciation, and the realization of the urgency to live it. That is how this Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam came to be a part of, I say, our way of life. But it is also said that elsewhere also people, and other than India, in other countries also, there have been the practice of worshipping Earth and the other planets, etc. May be true, but backed up by wisdom. Why we did what we did? This happened only in India from our Vedas, the Upanishad that is quoted. Sorry. So, anything that we practice, we not only had an outlook, but we had a corresponding in-look also. As a result of which, we practiced what we conceived, what we understood. It is because of this that in the first millennia itself, in the early part of first millennia, Christians started coming here, followed by Muslims, and we welcomed all of them. There was no question of differentiation of any race or religion or language or community or anything of that sort, because we saw everyone as the sons of earth or children of earth. Therefore, there was no question of any differentiation. Our kings, our provincial chieftains, it is they who made the mosques and churches for those people who believed in that religion, and they even, I should say, promoted conversion as well, because whatever is good in other religions, we absorbed it. But it came to such a pass that quality was sacrificed, and the number became their criterion. In the other religions who came here to convert, for them what was important was number, not the quality or the philosophy or anything of that sort. Anyway, we sheltered, we gave asylum to Jews who came here, and also the Parsis who sought asylum from Iran. So we did all that because we have followed, we have practiced this concept of Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. And now, down the centuries, there has been deterioration. How this deterioration has set in, this was discussed in the morning, Mitranji also made it, the selfishness. Selfishness started ruling the roost, and there started all problems. Puja Gurudev said, if we look at through the ego or egocentric attitude, definitely, the small self becomes more important than the bigger, larger, universal self. So, rather, across the globe, everybody is selfish to some extent or the other. But to the extent the selfishness takes its position or the upper hand, to that extent, deterioration is sure and certain. So, what is the lining is they have started India for the backup wisdom, how the very concept of one earth, one family, one future can be actualized. So, as Arnold Toynbee very rightly said, it is time, he said maybe many years ago, it is time the West looked up to the East, especially Bharat, India, and take it as the Jagat Guru. So the India becomes the Jagat Guru, the world master who can be looked up to for guidance. So this sort of thing became the silver lining, and we have this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam to be disseminated and then spread across the globe. And Modi ji, our honorable Prime Minister, he has brought many novel ideas and very beautiful things like Swachh Bharat, etc. And it caught the imagination of especially the people, youth, not only in India, even in other countries. And Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, another one is yoga. As many as around 190 countries followed Modi ji on his yoga practice. We look at that, the great transformation he has ushered in. Now, the topic that I have been given is, as I mentioned earlier, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is the linchpin, is the vital point, the major factor in actualizing the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Education plays a very important role. Now, Swami Vivekananda, what did he say about education? Education is the manifestation of perfection already in man. So there is perfection already in us. There is that vision or that oneness. It is our reality. As Advaita Vedanta says, the one absolute truth is what myself is. What my own self is that one absolute truth. I have to unfold it, I have to open it up and know for what it is. This in the educational field, how children or the youngsters can be impacted. We have more than 100 educational institutions, including our prestigious university. In all our educational institutions, starting from the schools, there is, as you all know, many teachers are present here, CVP or Chinmaya Vision program. And along with the idea of imparting the spiritual education, this universal outlook is also given. The idea of how we can harbor, we can take an universal outlook. See, as we mentioned earlier, there should be one in-look for the outlook to manifest. This in-look should be spiritual. This in-look is what is aimed at by the spiritual personality development. And there is integrated personality, there is Indian culture, there is also patriotism. But these are all going a long way to create that in-look. And when this in-look is embedded well in our mind and intellect, definitely the outlook will become universal. And once conceptually the outlook is appreciated, and there comes a stage where it has to be practiced. Each one of us has a mind which is the citadel of emotions, intellect. The educational institutions today, what it is driving at, what it is doing, is what Macaulay has designed a century and more before. So, Esha Vidya Ya Niyuktaye. So, meaning the present system of education aimed at making you employable. Generally, don't become employable, but making them becoming employable. That is the Macaulay's system. Now, in our Upanishads it is said, Sa Vidya Ya Vimuktaye, not Niyuktaye. The main purpose is to get free from our shackles of limitations, and get this inner look, that in look. From that angle only, that is, as one of my predecessors speakers mentioned, for example, while eating, sometimes, we bite our tongue. Who bit the tongue? The teeth. Do we take action against the teeth? No, we don't. Why? The tongue is mine, the teeth are also mine. So we don't initiate action against the teeth because it bit the tongue. I am in my teeth as much as I am in my tongue. It's not true. There is oneness. In the same way, the whole world, the whole earth is one. I don't have to dilate upon this. Already it has been worked out in detail, and I have to stick to time. Our Puja Gurudev has taught us one thing: the Samaya Nishta is very important. The punctuality is very important. If I am given 15 minutes, I should stick to that 15 minutes. So I keep my watch here and looking at it, whether I am hitting the 15th minute. Understand? Puja Gurudev had put it in our head. So it's difficult for us to change. Well, anyway, this in-look formation, that is because of the knowledge of oneself, then if it naturally happens as a result of our learning, meaning our intellectual learning, when that intellectual understanding, intellectual vision is percolating into our heart and making it work through our indriyas, sense organs of action, everything, our hands, legs, mouth, everywhere. When the percolation takes, then we actualize it. Generally what happens, the percolation doesn't take place. The knowledge remains at the intellect level, and it doesn't percolate into our heart. Only when it percolates into our heart, then only we become fit for vimukti. Otherwise, we become only fit for niyukti. We may become employable, but our real problems we will not be able to solve. When the challenges stare us in the face, we will not be able to solve them. Why? Because we don't have that balanced mind. And that balance of mind, equanimity of mind, equipoise of mind comes through understanding this oneness that is within my own heart. So this sinking in all the differences and realizing that, as it is said in the Bhajagovindam, Toi Mai Cha Anyatra Eko Vishnuhu Vyartham Kupyasi Mai Asahishnuhu. So in you, in me, in everyone, there is one that all-pervading Vishnu, the Lord. So this oneness of self, that spirit, that I come to realize because of the education that I receive from our educational institutions. So this is how we must impart education to the students. This understanding, this vision, at least in a small dose, should be given to the students. Catch them young, Puja Gurudev would say. If it is given at the formative years, in the impressionable age, definitely they will catch it. They will understand it. They may not fully realize it, but a time will come, the wholeness, the totality not the fragmentary perception, the total perception will come to rule them, come to guide them, come to influence them, and all their thinking, all their words, all their actions, everything will be guided by this sense of oneness, that spirit of oneness. And there we realize this earth is not just theoretically one, and not theoretically, the future one, the humanity one. Earth, as he said already, it has been discussed. The earth doesn't belong to us alone. The whole humanity, humans, the flora and the fauna, everything, they have right to earth. Narayana Gurudevan, the great Renaissance saint of Kerala, he said, Oru Pida Erumbinum Vedu Taridunul Anugambayum Sada. Don't even venture to hurt even an ant. Why? Because that ant has the right to live on earth. So this understanding percolates into our heart, our mind, and then we become the real practitioners, not just preachers. We just become the practitioners of the great principle Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Thank you very much. Hari Om.
What a beautiful world it would be if we can truly follow the practices that once we did and bring them back. And yes, I completely agree that time is ripe to contemplate upon and maybe redefine the goals of education. With that, moving on to our next speaker, we have with us Professor Achyut Shankar S. Nair, who will be providing us insights into the continuum and cooperation of all life forms. Professor Achyut Shankar is a senior professor of computer science in University of Kerala, who heads the Department of Bioinformatics. He did his education from College of Engineering Trivandrum, IIT Bombay, University of Cambridge, and University of Kerala. He holds 2 PhDs, one in engineering and one in music. He's a teacher, researcher, science communicator, and cultural and heritage activist. He's a recipient of the first National Teacher Award by the Indian National Science Academy in New Delhi. He's also a recipient of YK Maulavi's Foundation Award for Social Service. He has authored technical and creative works, including a novel, Tharippu, which is a historic science fiction. His work on Swathi Thirunal is widely acclaimed. His latest book is on Malayalam meters or Chandas. Although his bio says that he is an amateur Carnatic performer, people who have listened to him might vouch that he is a pro. He has popularized a format, Sangeeta Sallapam, which mixes intellectual conversation with music. Welcome you, sir.
My namaskaram to all who are assembled here, the spiritual teachers, fellow teachers, dear students, very eminent speakers. I'm very proud to be on the stage along with very, very eminent minds. I've enjoyed all the lectures that preceded this. I have a small presentation. Can we start? Actually, yeah. Can you change from there? Can you change from there? Slides. Next, yeah. Next. 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 Okay, I come from the Kerala University. Next. Next. Please hold there. I have a thing to share with you. The IT team here told me, you have a lot of slides which doesn't seem to say anything. Can we remove all that and then start with the next one? But the slides I've shown you, they send a message. Non-verbal communication happens with that. I think they make you They are all images of nature. They make you more happy than my talk. So, because we live in an age where, we have beautiful nature outside, but all your view is cut off and, you are inside a room. So I'm trying to bring in some nature. I have a great respect for women for many reasons. One is that they wear very colorful dress compared to men. And if you look at that dress, you would see a lot of nature in it. A lot of flowers, a lot of plants, and even the ornaments that they wear, if you look close, you see a lot of plants, flowers and plants. So they are actually atoning for this crime that humanity is doing, just destroying all the plant life, and then, they some way try to make up for that. And when I go to sleep, I also notice that my wife has chosen bed sheets with a lot of flowers and, creepers on it. And not only the pillow cover too. Anyway, so I also want to, now that I have begun on a positive note, I think I can say something negative. I was gifted a bouquet. I did not receive it because it is clad in plastic. And it's a matter that has to go to Brahmapuram, and we have to do strike to handle this mess. I just would like to ask, why is it that we forget tradition on such things? Here is our tradition of welcoming guests. You could actually put a handful of jasmine flowers, sprinkle enough water, because you are saying the touch of water makes us happy and make us better human beings for a moment. Just immediately after that, we are back to square one. Why don't we welcome people with that? It's a part of our tradition also, with a bit of touch of water and flowers. The plastic, where does it come from? Do you know where it comes from? Actually, it is I would say it is a dead body of all living beings of the past. Hydrocarbon. Sometimes people ask you, what is future of humanity? My answer is very simple. We will all end up as petrol. Somebody in future, crores of years afterwards, will just fill their petrol tank, and all of us will go into that tank. That is what would happen. So let us remember that this I would say it is inauspicious to bring plastic into auspicious places, because it is dead body. This is my department. You can see that the department is not tilted. Actually, the photograph is tilted. Department of Computational Biology and Bioinformatics. You see that there is a window. When people come, I expect them to look through the window and see the sky. And the plant grows down and touches the ground. A very important message: your feet on the ground and your thoughts in the sky. So we are trying to promote that through the architecture of the building. Okay. Can you change? Next. So this is a best classroom in my department. Next. This is a eco-friendly classroom in my department. Okay. This is my small department. Okay. Next. I start all my talks with my Manasa Guru's quote. This is Jerome Bruner, who says, anything can be taught to anyone in some honest form. There is nothing more that a teacher needs as, a very powerful message to take the whole teaching career forward. Okay. Now, I had a bit of confusion about what I should be speaking. The idea that I got was that what science and technology tells us about Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. But coming here, I think, that is not the most appropriate thing to say. So what I will do is, I will say a few things about that, which I have already prepared. Then I will make some reference about, like generating ideas that we must give to the government of India. That is what I will do in the second part. I'm very happy to say, when I was a school kid, Swami Chinmayananda did a Gita Yajna in Trivandrum in a place called Manjalikulam. So this was a pond behind my school SME High School. Actually, the pond was filled by our headmaster was a Gandhian. He made all of us carry. There is a small mound in front of the school. He let us demolish that and then take that soil to the pond and filled it. And he was given a national award for that. And today he would have been arrested. Next. So what does science tell us that unites the whole universe? We are all atoms. Whether you call yourself human being or plant or frog or Hindu or Muslim or Congress or communist or Indian or Chinese, you are just a bunch of atoms. Next. Well, to go one step further, if you are living, then you are all cells. There might be some differences in cells, but there is something very common with cells. I will mention that. That seems to be, as far as science is concerned, that seems to be the core identity of life. Next, please. We are our genomes. Genomes are, if you take every cell of our body, there are trillions of them. Inside that, we have small recipe of life. Today, we are very close to reading it. I foresee that in another 10 years, if you go to a doctor, the doctor now says, go and take a scan. They would soon ask you to take a genome sequence. You bring your genome sequence. Let us see what is your problem. So science has reached that level. And the genome is a very interesting thing. It is a language, actually. It's a language with 4 characters, words made up of 3 letters. And very interestingly, not to displease any world community, is written both from left to right and from right to left with no punctuations, no full stops either. So the meaning of, that a language has its lexicon, it has its words, but then words have meanings. If words have no meaning, then there cannot be a language. So genomes have meanings. Actually, each part of the genome, which is active, is called a gene. They produce proteins, workhorse molecules of life. And we can say that we are all common because these proteins are seen in many, many living beings. The same proteins are being seen. When we say crocodile tears, very interestingly, we say human beings are producing crocodile tears. Actually, both of them have the same enzyme. So it is not actually very wrong to say that we are producing crocodile tears. And now I come to a bit more of interesting point, or more higher level. We are all children of the same mother. Science says we have same mother, the primordial mother, or Pramada Mada, who lived in Africa. Now people may have questions about what was there before, whose daughter was this great mother. Now the answer very approximately is that she was the daughter of an orangutan. That is all science can say. We have nothing further to say about that. Next, please. So, are we evolved from monkeys? Now, Darwin's theory is, as many of us know, has been controversial. Certain religions do not accept it. I think it was not accepted because it was paraphrased wrongly by the populace. Darwin did not say we evolved from monkeys. He actually said there is a mechanism in nature which ensures that life forms evolve and the fittest survive, and that all living organisms are related, which is very close to saying Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. All living organisms are related. So Swamiji just now mentioned about Anukampa Shatakam. Why do you have to be kind to other insects and animals? Because they are actually your brothers and sisters. That is what science tells us. So if Darwin had phrased it differently, every religion would have been very excited about this. Oh, science also finds that the whole world is one family. But unfortunately, the paraphrasing went wrong. It was connecting you to orangutan. Now, as far as science is concerned, we are no longer having any controversy on this. Religion may still carry on with the controversy, but science is now very, very sure that it is so, that we are all related and we have evolved, and that last point of evolution was from the orangutan. If any one of you doubt, what you do is, you just take a drop of your blood, sequence a part of it, go to a website called blast.org and just paste it there, and it will find out the most similar genome sequence from the International Data Bank, and what comes out of it is the genome of an orangutan. Irrespective of how beautiful you think you are, how special you are, which religion you belong to, no escape from this scientific fact. So I think that genomics is a science and technology which tells us that the whole world is a family. There's no doubt about it. If you go for this narrow span of time where you say from orangutan to human, you have a problem. I would like to tell you, the coronavirus, which has done us a lot of trouble, is actually our cousin. Far removed cousin. Cousin once removed, twice removed, thrice removed, far removed cousin. There is no living form which is not related to each other. Science and technology is very clear about it. Very, very clear about it. And we can quantify this, and we can actually show you graphically that this is the case. So this is what science and technology is telling us in every sense of, in various branches of its knowledge. It is telling us that we are all one big family. And then there at different levels it talks about this. For example, when we talk about ecosystem and we talk about a chain which people are depending on each other, the organisms are depending on each other, all there you will see this feeling of the family. So science is in support of the idea Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Now I would stop about talking about science and technology with this slide. This slide. We are our metagenome. Metagenome is a word used to describe genome of a particular environment, not really talking about an organism, but about that environment. Now, very interesting point I would like to tell you, something that is very, very striking, very philosophical. We all know that we live with microorganisms. In our body, there is a lot of microorganisms. At any point of time, in your body, there is 1 kilogram of microorganism. Your weight is 70 kilograms. It's actually only 69. 1 kilogram is somebody else. Our way of referring that is, these microorganisms are living in our body. That is what we say. Today, science has come out with a very fantastic perspective about who is in whose body by telling us that if our body contains about 30 trillion cells, then our body, human cells, then remember that our body contains about 40 trillion microorganisms cells. So the question is, are the microorganisms staying in your body, or your body is actually living amidst a community of microorganisms? The 40 trillion cells, amidst of which 30 trillion human cells are living. Makes you humble. Now, this has very practical ramifications too. For example, you all know that when you take antibiotic, then your stomach has a problem. Because there are some people living with you. They don't want this antibiotic. So they are forced to take this antibiotic. They're killed, and then your body suffers. So this one health, one world, one health actually tells you, unless your microorganisms in your body are healthy, you are not healthy. Unless your environment is healthy, you are not healthy. So not only outside, inside also. Actually, most of the microorganisms are outside the body, not inside. Most of them. For example, your gut is actually not inside your body. It is actually outside. It is very complex thing to think like that, but your gut is not inside. It is like a ulunnu vada, the whole of the ulunnu vada, you can say it is actually outside the ulunnu vada, not inside. Anyway, so the point I would like to make is that this community of microorganisms, we have lost sight of the fact that they have been a very strong supporter of our well-being. I sometimes feel we have pet animals in home. We have cow, sheep, or dog, or cat. But do you know that we have been growing pet microorganisms also? But unfortunately, we talk about biodiversity. but we have microbial biodiversity is going down. My mother, when she makes curd, one day by some reason it is broken. Then she sends me to my grandmother's house. And from there you get some curd, yogurt. With that only she would make next day the curd. Because she says this is our family culture of microorganism. But now do we have in Kerala, everybody's culture is Milma's microorganism. We have only Milma's, not ours. So we have, this is all I mentioned this to indicate that we are unaware of many of living beings which are there to support us, which are living together with us like a family. The meaning of the family is that people do things to each other without a need to be paid, which happens nowhere else. So these bacteria also are living within our body. They are not asking for anything, but just live as a family. Don't trouble them. You're troubling yourself. Okay, I think I will, next slide, please. Next. Okay, just hold this slide. It's a nice slide. Let it be there till the end of my lecture. Now, listening to all the lectures here, I thought I will just make a small addition to my talk. This is a pond in the Dakshinamurti temple in Edapal. Very beautiful pond. I would like to say, as a suggestion to this seminar should make to the government of India for the G20 goals, let us remember that life evolved and therefore is related. Life has evolved, therefore is related. Let this message be sent through education. But then I would like to add, not only has life evolved, for example, language has evolved and therefore all languages are brothers and sisters all over the world. We actually use the word family in language families, Indo-European family of languages. Britishers are actually not very foreign to us because we are related by language. Sanskrit and English fall into the same family. I will read out some words for you. Apt, apta. Dental, danta. Cruel, krur. Daughter, dauhitri. Spleen, spliha. Name, nama. Heart, hrit. Heinous, hina. Tat, that. Nose, nasa. Path, pad. Vivid, vivida. Vomit, vomit. And if you look at Old Testament, you will see Abraham and Sarah. If you cut the first letter and add a few words in the second one, you get Brahma and Saraswati. Abraham, Brahma and Sarah, Saraswati. What does that tell us? They tell us that we are all brothers and sisters. Through the family of languages, we are related. They are not alien to us. We are not alien to them. I will end with some reference is made about me about music, so I think I will end musically. Music also has evolved all over the world. The young lady who performed the poetry, I would say performed, Kavita. She said, let us make a call in the same raga. I think, if possible, you should say, make a call in the same tala. Because you can live without raga, but you cannot live without tala. Because if you don't have tala, you are dead. Because your heart is beating and you are always with tala. Always, not a moment without tala. If you don't have tala, that means rhythm, that means you are dead. I just want to tell you how rhythm is there across the world in this same, it gives the same happiness, the part of all cultures. There is a dance music called waltz, W-A-L-T-Z. It's like a tap dance. You see men and women doing this dance in big dance halls in the West. It is actually a form of rhythm in India, in South India, which is called Tisra Nadai. Tisra Nadai means 3 units of time taken in 4 segments. Actually, very interesting to see where the 4 segments come from. All over the world, it is 4 segments. Music very often is in 4 segments. What is 4? I think 4 is a sign of division. Human beings have always lived by sharing. When you share food with one person, you cut it into half. When you share it with 4 people, you are again cutting that again into half. After that, it becomes a bit more complex. Those who are not very good in maths may go wrong, but up to 4 you can go right. Half, then once again half. That's 4 units. So in the 4 units, if you put 3 units of time, 4 segments, you put 3 units of time, you get this rhythm. And in Indian tradition, you say Guru and Laku. Or you can simply say a long sound and a short sound. What is a long sound? Dim. What is a short sound? Ta, ki, da. So you can put these units to make 3 unit sound. For example, if you say tadim, 1 plus 2, 3. Ta, ki, da, 3. Dim, ta, 3. So you put this together, you get Tisra Nadai rhythm. You could, for example, you could say takita, 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 takita. It's simple one. Or you can say tadim, 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 tadim. Those who have seen Bahubali can actually hear this when the drum is beaten. The British man has his or her regatta, the boat song. Our boat song in Kerala is very fast and it increases its speed as it reaches near the destination. But the British had, they taken a lot of money from other countries and they were quite not in any hurry anytime, at any point of time. So their boat song goes very slow and not at all in a hurry. One of it goes like this. You must have seen Mr. Bean singing it. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. So this is actually Tisra Nada. And you can translate all of this into our Carnatic rhythm. You could say dim, 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 ta, dim, takita, takita, dim, takita, 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 dim. Many of you may not know that when in the evening you sing Rama, 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 actually you are singing just like the Westerner is singing, but the music misleads you. You sing in a very different spiritual, serious tone. But if you convert it into the British man's music, actually you can sing like that. You normally sing Rama, 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 Pahi Mam. You change it to the British man's music, it sounds like this. Row, row, row your boat, Rama, 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 Pahi Mam. Rama, 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 Pahi Mam. So you can see that when you do that, you see that culturally we are connected. You don't know, but we are very much connected. I was so fascinated when I learned that the great guru of Carnatic music, Saint Tyagaraja, possibly heard something like this in Fort St. George. And he, just for fun, he just produced one like that. Some of you may know. Because the music is different, you don't realize that it is the same as row, row, row your boat. Music is different. So he also made sure that not only the rhythm, the music is adjusted as Western. The Western music and our music is time. Yeah, I'll stop. Western music and our music are different because of the straight notes. So I stop with this song and just one comment. Leelagana lola surapala suguna jala bharida neelagala galahridalaya shrudi moola sukarunala vala palaya shumam. Is Western. I would like to stop with making this call. I think you know that I am not student of Swami Chinmaya Ji. That is why my time is the tradition. I would say one message we have to give is that all over the world, tradition has good elements which will make us a good family. The bouquet is one example. So not a small thing. It will make people happy. It will protect the environment if the bouquet that I suggested is given. Now, another point I would like to say that in all traditions we have messages against greed. Mahatma Gandhi said you have everything for your need but not for your greed, the nature has. I would say restate the same thing with a bit of humor by saying that in Indian tradition you say your future is decided by Navagrahas. It's not Navagraha, it is Atyagraha that decides your future. We must always remember that. And final point, I would stop here. There is a lot of talk about Mother Earth. Now, if you ask me who is Mother, in the first 25 years of your life, it is the person whom you touch most. That is my definition of a mother. After that, maybe you touch somebody else more. There is a cinema that came recently about a mother, Indian mother in Norway. The child is taken away from the mother because the is close to the mother. And there, according to their child rearing standards, that is not good. The child has to be independent, it seems. Now, what is happening in our country, all over the world, is that we are losing touch with Mother Nature. We are not touching it. Why is it that we are able to spoil a river? Why is it that we are able to, throw litter all around? Because you have never touched your mother. What am I pointing at? When we walk into this room, we are asked to remove footwear. Actually, I would be happy the other way around. Footwear. So that you are able to touch mother. Why are rivers polluted? Because you no longer take bath in the river. That means you are not touching the river. We must have a campaign where, a day of touch. When we go to meet elderly people, you don't go with Horlicks and orange. I think you should go with the intention to touch them. They miss touch. So this is a great point that we could. This will kind of wake up the love for nature in them, respect for nature in them, create a relation just like a baby and its mother. And I hope that would be a one point that would be taken up. Finally, education on education, I would say, if we have effective value-based education, then what would happen is that, carbon, when you burn wood, you get carbon. Do you know that carbon has the same atoms as molecules as diamond? You reorganize, then you get diamond. So let us ensure that our education does this as regards the child's outlook towards nature, and ensure that they are connected to nature not only through thought but through touch. It's a very, very important point. Then other things would naturally work. If the boy or the girl has enough touch with the mother in the childhood, then there is some nanma that would be there automatically in them. Let us look forward to that. I am very sorry that I have overshot time, but I cannot deny myself of the joy of speaking. I am a Prasanga Tolilali, if you understand what that means. So I have to do a minimum unit of work before I can stop. I'm sorry that I took a lot of time, but I enjoyed talking to you. I hope you enjoyed listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I hate to be the joy killer, but it's the task that I've been assigned with. Thank you for that honest feedback. No more plastics will be up on a checklist the first thing next time. And your slides are indeed your USP. They are soothing and capture your attention to what is coming next. And I'm sure your students love to hear you, just like we did today. And I hope that you come again and we can get to hear you sometime soon. With that, we move on. Next up, we have a talk on education for transformation towards Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam by Shri Venugopal C. Govind. He's a senior chartered accountant with over 55 years of practice in assurance, taxation, and currently the chairman of the Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Kochi Kendra, and trustee of Chinmaya Mission Educational and Cultural Trust, Greater Cochin. He has served as a director on boards of several public and private sector companies in India. Sri Venugopalji has been the financial advisor and consultant to several large infrastructural, industrial, and healthcare projects in South India. He's on the board of governors and academic councils and adjunct professors of various management institutes, engineering, and professional colleges in India. He was awarded the Millennium Year Management Leadership Award by the Kerala Management Association for his significant contribution to business, industry, and management in Kerala. He was District Governor of Rotary International, South India, and has served in various international committees of Rotary International. I welcome you, sir. Please.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. My pranams at the lotus feet of Puja Gurudev. My pranams to all of you, Swami Vivekananda ji, Aparao ji, Ajay Kapoor ji, and all in the Chinmaya family, and also all the faculty members and students of our various institutions. Pranams to all. Well, I have to discuss with you the role of education in achieving the lauded objective of Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. We have been told that Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam means one world, one earth, one family, and one future. We heard G20, the governmental perspectives of that, the economic perspectives, the Vedic spiritual perspectives, the scientific perspective, and even the musical perspective. So we have been traveling through different worlds, but towards achieving what has to be the final just world order, Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Whether you talk spiritually, emotionally, economically, in whichever perspective, finally it boils down to one significant aspect. There has got to be transformation. We talk about one world, one earth, one family, one future, but at the same time we are torn asunder, divided by various disruptive, destructive, degenerative, degrading, deriding forces all around. Impossible to unite even one family, one little community, one society, one caste, one religion, one state, one nation. Even the smallest of the small nations, they find it very difficult to unite themselves. Then we are talking about one world, one earth. Are we talking about something absolutely unattainable, impractical, at least in our generation? Maybe. But that doesn't mean that we should not have that objective. We say Satyameva Jayate. Where is Satyam? Are we anywhere near to that? But we continue to maintain that. All the values that we have, we stick on to that because it has to be achieved. Someday this has to be achieved. We all work together towards that. And that kind of objective can be achieved only through transformation. Transformation of what? Transformation of the humans. Transformation of everything around. All the forces which work against or which create the disruption and which disunite, these have to be modeled, controlled, shaped, tuned, reimagined, developed to reach up to that objective. And that requires wholesome transformation. And as Swami Mitranandaji said, out of 84 million creations, 83.99 millions are not doing anything disruptive. Only that 0.1 million or 1 million, that is the human element which is causing all the disruption. And that is right here, we are talking about transforming the humans. Therefore, if the humans are transferred, The whole world is transferred, whole earth is transferred. Impossible as a concept. But how do you work on that? Transformation of humans are possible only through, as has come out from all these Vedic descriptions, discussions, deliberations, scientific analysis, interpretations, and all that. It has certainly been established that only by transformation of the humanity can be transferred. The human minds have to be transferred. And if you are able to transform human minds, we are able to transform human lives. How do we transform human minds? Any amount of pressure, all the human elements that you can pour into that: compassion, love, sympathy, kindness, consideration, affection, all that. Hundreds of traits, if we try to inject, instill, involve, imbibe, that kind of a transformation of mind we are thinking of can never be achieved. The only route to get or achieve the kind of transformation we are looking for is through education only. So what is this education that we are now thinking of, talking about? Transformative education. Education for transformation. Education for transformation, for enlightenment. Because if mind has to be transformed, mind has to be enlightened. If one doesn't have an enlightened mind, that mind will be destructive, will be disruptive. It will be a monkey's mind. It will go hither, hither, shelter, and all that. Uncontrollable. Absolutely essential, therefore, to evolve a system of education which will ensure that the mind is directed, redirected, and then tuned towards values, ethics, what we really consider as the quintessence of human existence, human survival. So what is that education we are not talking about? Transformative education includes all forms of education, not just nursery levels education, primary level education, post-primary education, secondary, higher secondary, higher education, professional education, continuing education. We are all students. At 80, I am still a student of many things. I learned many things now in this forum itself. So we continue to learn. So learning and learning, what is the purpose of this learning? The purpose of the learning is to usher in enlightenment, undoubtedly. So the learning has to give us the knowledge. Learning has to give in what knowledge? The knowledge that will make us think. The knowledge that will make us analyze. The knowledge which will make us discriminate. The knowledge which will take us to find out or discriminate between the right and the wrong, the good and the evil. The knowledge which will direct us, which will propel us through the righteous path. The knowledge which will dissuade us by moving away from all that is evil. Now that kind of knowledge has to be injected and instilled at all the stages of the human minds. Only then it can be, the objective can be achieved. As early as in 1958, when I first listened to Pujya Gurudev as a college student in the teens, about 1,000 of us in the Fort Maidan and Palgad, the quintessence of what he taught, 1 hour's address, it completely changed my perception about everything. Since then, I have been a devotee of Pujya Gurudev. I rejoined him in the 60s and again rejoined him in the 70s when he set up the Vidyalaya, and then continued to be a humble disciple, every day listening to him on something or the other. A powerful master, a superior guru. What he told us at that point of time is, you youngsters, you got to be strong in your body, in your mind and the intellect. His BMI concept you all heard later, sitting in his august chair, majestic chair with a cane and telling us BMI, body, the perceiver of objects, mind, the feeler of emotions, intellect, the thinker of thoughts, reaching up to your vasana, realizing your vasana, and going up to the ultimate Om. See, he even told us at that point of time. And therefore, work on your body, a strong mind, and a strong intellect. Never wanting to give up anything at any point of time, and have this self-confidence, self-realization, self-actualization, the requisite knowledge to act when you need to act, when to say yes and when you said to no, and then success go after that. Never be bothered about failure. You will succeed. You will reach your goal. When I was in my early teens, this is what he said, and this is what we is all about: educating and strengthening the body and the mind and the intellect. A time has come when we talk about Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. As was correctly mentioned, this is 2015 that the United Nations members joined together and gave the Sustainable Development Goals. 17 goals to be achieved. No hunger, no poverty, no kinds of inequalities, no discrimination of any kind, not waste anything, affordable water, clean water, affordable energy, good health, good economic well-being, progress, human rights. You have to achieve that. These self-development goals can be achieved only by what? In 2021, UNESCO brought out the Future of Education report, 2021. It lists so many things. How education, the future of education has to be tailored, have to be modified in order to make the young ones entirely from different what they are in their thoughts, in their perceptions, in their deeds, in their actions, in their moods, in their emotions. In every aspect of their human life, how it has got to be, they have got to be transferred. And then again in 2022, they had a summit on education, as how education has to be a transformative education. So this exercise has been going on at global level. Fortunately, we in India, we have all the essence of knowledge, the quintessence of all that has got to be learned, we have it. But we are unable to take out and bring it out and give it to the world. Unfortunately, the present education system, the current global education system has thoroughly failed in addressing these alarming challenges. How do we go about? The whole question now is how do we tailor, how do we model our education? Education has failed to fulfill the basic objectives to help to shape just, peaceful, sustainable world of acceptable societies of human existence or human life. Now we need to work on that. Therefore, education has to be tailored now, has to be reimagined as we all have perceived now. The way we learn, what we learn, how we learn, all these have got to be changed. And it is time to transform education by looking into all the mistakes that we have done in the past. Indian education system, as rightly pointed out by Swamiji, we had the Gurukulam system, the best in the world. We should have developed on that, and we should have improved on that and taken it out a model for the world. The British came, conquered us, and they established their rule. They found that the Indians are what they are. Most knowledgeable, most competent, most intelligent group, achievable of any objective that they want because of the Gurukulam system of education. British went back and introduced the Gurukulam system in their army. It was a failing army in the early days and all that. After they introduced the Gurukulam system, Winston Churchill has talked about that. The whole, strength of the British army changed. Macaulay also found out it is the Gurukulam system, the India's spiritual Vedic knowledge and the strength that is really making what Indians, what they are. And they cannot be conquered, they cannot be ruled, they cannot be governed until the roots of their spirituality, the roots of their culture, these are all ruined. And then we introduce a new system of education which will make them slaves and slaves and slaves. Now, this is true not only in India, in most part of the world. So how do we go about? So a realization of what education can do is most important. As I said, Education has the preeminence to exterminate the evils from the human society altogether. So we have to hold on to the values of the education. The training of the human mind is not complete without education. So at all the levels, from the youngest level itself, we have to train the young minds to think positively, to look at all the good things in life, and to be duty conscious about what they do to do. Duty to the parents, duty to the teachers, duty to the everything around, duty to the environment, duty to the ecology, duty to their compatriots, duty to their peers, and then coupled with a sense of empathy, sympathy, love, compassion, kindness, the good human traits which we have in us. These have got to be harnessed and fostered from a very young childhood age. That has got to be the model of education. It has to make everyone a right thinker to be able to take the right decision at the right time. One decision can, at a crucial point of time, completely upset and unnerve everything about us. So therefore, to be able to take the righteous decision at the right time has got to be instilled in the young minds by the parents who are the first teachers and by the teachers who are the first parents. They spend more time on the young little ones than the parents themselves. Equally important is that life skills have to be introduced. What we teach in the schools and colleges these days do not make them capable of living an independent life. An independent life which will sustain themselves, which will empower them themselves. So skill element is lacking in all our educational system. So we have got to find out hundreds of life skills which has got to be given as a process of life earning itself. And this is exactly what, the education has to be the basic need or basic requirement of a society which can be enlightened. Now, how do we achieve that towards what we are looking for of Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam? Swami Mityanandaji asked for our suggestions and all that. We are all connected to schools. I am connected to 13, 14, 15 schools in and around Kochi. Nearly 30, 40,000 children and 1,200 teachers. I know for certain what their problems are. Absolutely. The teachers refuse to, with all apology to the teachers refuse to change their mindset. The teachers refuse to learn new technologies, new methodologies, new processes, new philosophies even. We talk about experiential learning. We talk about throwing away rote learning. We talk about disconnecting with the classroom learning. We talk about taking children to the exterior world, outside world, throw them open to the nature, open to the world outside, make them befriended with, abreast of current knowledge which is happening all around, but we find it extreme. So we have to work on those areas where we need to empower teachers. We have to make them learn and unlearn and relearn. And we are going to focus a lot of attention in the training and retraining of teachers at the educational level. How it has got to be, CBSE has their own methodologies, educational department has their methodologies, Niti Ayog has their methodologies, Chinmaya Mission has its methodologies, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan has its methodologies. We have to codify all that and bring out what shall be the real, effective, purposeful, objective methodology or system for imparting the required training of the teachers now. Because the new education policy 2020 is modeled to connect India with the global, the best of the global practices in the world, combining our own traditions, values, in our epics, in our scriptures and all that have been inbuilt into the national education policy. Based on that, national curriculum framework has also been brought out, as you know. 1 month ago, the NCF for the foundational stage education has been brought out, and we are yet to understand the dimensions and the ramification and how they can be implemented on that. The first dose of the national curriculum framework for the higher classes have also been brought out 2 days ago. So teachers have to get fully involved in getting themselves thoroughly knowledgeable on the application of all these elements. Going forward, what requires to be done to make education modern, relevant, significant, successful for the little ones? Because finally it is in the learning outcome, not in how we have built up the infrastructure or how good the education institutions are all, or how best our faculty and are all. They are not the criteria or metrics to measure the quality of the delivery of the education by the institutions. What is important is the learning outcome. How we have been able to transform each and every child. If we have 15,000 children in our schools, for example, if you are able to transform only 500 or 1,000, we have failed miserably. We have to transform at least 14,000 out of 15,000 children. The other 1,000 may be special cases requiring special attention. So therefore, the education system has got to be so tuned, and huge lot of investment is also required. From management sides, we recognize that. I have made a simple estimate of what globe needs, what the world needs to invest in education. $1,480 billion have to be invested in the education system in the next 5 years. If the world has to grow as one entity towards a kind of education that will lead our next generation on the path to Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. So what are the elements in that? First and foremost, promoting global citizenship, developing a global citizenry. They are not children who are studying in Kochi or in Arakundam or in Chalakkudi or any other place. They are students, they are studying in this world, in this earth. They are part of the global network. That global citizenship element has to be injected at the very young age. Children have to be made to foster inclusiveness through education. We are looking about inclusive education, none to be excluded. If you want Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, no one in the family should be excluded. Similarly, no single child shall be excluded from the educational system. Therefore, the teachers, the system will be so tuned as in the Gurukulam, where every teacher is able to reach out to every single child, particularly the weak child, those who need special attention, those who are disabled perhaps. They may have different kinds of disabilities which would not have been even discovered. So there the individual attention has to be reached, taken to, and the education has to be made inclusive in all respect. We have to make the children learn to build bridges, unite in every possible manner. The thinking, the psychological thinking, the mental, emotional thinking has to be so developed to build the bridges to get rid of all the divisive thinking. Unnecessary competition at all the levels has to go. It is not competition that is important for the young ones, but it is collaboration. So education has to provide a collaborative method of coming up, advancement through collaborative perspectives. That will help to build bridges. And most importantly, we have to ensure that the young mind develops critical thinking. When I say critical thinking and analytical thinking and objective thinking, he must think, not simply get everything by heart or absorb what is taught. Classrooms or the you use now. But he or she should be able to think independently of their own, generate their idea. Why? What is the reason for all the anomalies taking place? What is the reason for all the misdeeds that is taking place? So they need to work on that and create an atmosphere or an environment of children developing the analytical thinking process in that. And the last but not the least is to encourage them for. We know India, for example, has answers for all world solutions. Ideas for all world solutions. Action is lacking. When we come to implementation, whether government level, non-government level, education sector, action is. So we have to focus on action, encourage activism amongst children, encourage innovation amongst children, encourage entrepreneurship amongst children at all the ages, so that when they grow, when they reach a stage of being independent on their own strong stand to face the world and face the multitudinous alarming challenges and disruptive tendencies they come across, and their mind will act above all that and achieve the kind of peace and harmony we look for towards achieving Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I'm like that ominous reminder that the time is about to go. But I come bearing good news. So while we munch on that food for thought, let us also proceed to satisfy our taste buds with a sumptuous lunch that has been arranged for everyone at Annakshetra. Small announcement. All the CVV staff, faculty, students can proceed to the CVV Annakshetra, and everyone else, please proceed to SIF Annakshetra, which is right behind the auditorium. It's the same food, same lunch. So I also request everyone to be seated sharp by 2, if not 5 minutes before, so that we can move on with the next sessions on time. Thank you so much. Yes, and this is a fresh one. So after every session, we have a new UPI code that you'll have to scan and submit your feedback. So please do for this one as well. Very, very, very different ones. So if you have submitted earlier, this is a separate one. Please do so. UPI, no, the scan. I'm just so used to that UPI thing that it came that way. Yes, scan. No payment will be deducted. If deducted, we'll be refunding. I mean, whoever is organizing it. QR code, yes.